Welcome to beautiful Colorado. Well, the Rockies starting to put something together. They have won 3 of their last 4. And as we zoom in on Lodo, we welcome you to Coors Field. It's game 2 of this 4-game series featuring Western Division rivals, the Rockies of Colorado and the Dodgers of Los Angeles. Hi again, everyone. I'm Dave Armstrong, along with George Frazier, fresh off a good win for the Rockies last night. Darryl Kyle out-dueling Kevin Brown. Rockies needed someone to step up. They got 2 guys to do it.
Well, they really did. Naphy Perez stepped up with the bat. Darryl Kyle stepped up with his pitching arm. He did it with all of his pitches. The fastball inside half. The good curveball freezes there. High heat in on Sheffield. And then the curveball away to Sheffield. Had command of all 3. Naphy Perez's night was outstanding. Takes 2 fastballs from Kevin Brown, pulls them. Third time up, takes it right back up the middle. Since Naphy Perez has gone to the leadoff position, the Rockies have scored 31 runs, and Naphy has driven in 11 of those runs. He has been outstanding in the leadoff spot, and what a big night for Darryl Kyle. When you throw strikes, he can be awesome. Last night, he threw strikes, just 1 walk in 7 innings.
One other guy we should mention is Dante Bichette. He also had a great night, 2 clutch hits, driving home 4 runs in that game. So tonight, Darryl Kyle passes the baton to Pedro Astacio, the former Dodger. And when all is said and done tonight, Astacio hopes he walks off the diamond with the hero's welcome. Colorado Rockies baseball is being brought to you by the Denver Rocky Mountain News, America's fastest growing newspaper. By Bud Light, for great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By Dasani, a new water from Coca-Cola. Replenish the source within. And by your Front Range Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler Plymouth dealers. Now, Davey Johnson, I guess no sense beating a dead horse. They're still trying to smile over there and keep their sense of humor despite a record of 10 games under 500 and 10.5 back in the West. Here's his lineup, brought to you by the Rocky Mountain News. Eric Young, the former Rocky, leading off, had a good night last night with 3 hits and 2 stolen bases. Then Todd Hollinsworth. Gary Sheffield, boy, he had a rough night, 0 for 4, 2 big strikeouts. Then Hundley, Mondesi, White, Beltre, Grzelcyk, and Darren Dreifert. Defensively for the Rockies, the outfield looks like this: Bichette, Hamilton, and Berry. That's right, Jeff Berry taking over for Larry Walker. He had to leave the stadium today. The severe case of the flu will not be available for tonight's game. Castilla, Perez, Shumpert, and Helton around the infield. Blanco's in there behind the plate. And the starting pitcher for the Rockies is Pedro Astacio, making start number 18.
7-7 with a .556 earned run average on the season for Astacio. He's 1-1 with a .513 lifetime record against the Dodgers. Has a no decision in 98, but pitched 16 innings and only gave up 4 earned runs against his former mates, whom he pitched 90 through to 97 and won 48 ball games and lost 47. Astacio tonight, I look for another good outing out of Astacio. Last night, a lot of humidity in the air. The curveball and slider for Kyle was outstanding. Astacio's curveball has been very good. It should be better in the humidity.
Well, Pedro Astacio will try to forget all about his last start against San Diego. On this day in Rockies history, which is brought to you by Dodge, in the inaugural year, the Rockies beat their fellow expansion mate Marlins 8-3 at Mile High. And that started a 4-game winning streak. Bichette and Galarraga hit a home run that day. Well, good crowd gathering here at the corner of 20th and Blake to watch the Rockies, and Eric Young with the Dodgers. EY make a little noise last night with those hits, but he never scored a run. The Dodgers have now lost 7 of 8 and 10 of their last 13, and as I mentioned, 10.5 back. So they are really struggling. George, for Astacio, he has to try to forget all about that last start against San Diego. He gave up 10 earned runs in just 6 innings.
Well, when you start out the season 0-3 with an .881 earned run average, then you turn that corner and you end up going 7-4 over your next starts. Remember, the good starts erase the bad starts, and that's sometimes hard to do for a pitcher. But I noticed about Astacio, his attitude and demeanor every day coming to the ballpark is always the same.
Well, let's talk about the standings in the West, as this one is just about to get underway. In the Western Division, San Francisco still on top. They play at San Diego tonight. The Diamondbacks still 2 back. The Padres 6 back now, and they're back under 500. Rockies start tonight 8.5 behind. And nobody has really taken this division and run away with it. When we head to the All-Star break, it's still pretty tight. The Dodgers feel like they're still a part of it, just 10.5 back. First pitch, a strike. Eric Young, you see his night. Pokes it down the line, but foul. 2 quick strikes on Eric Young. 6 times this year now, EY has 3 hits in a ball game. He also has stolen 2 bases in a game 8 times this year. Never more than 3 hits, never more than 2 stolen bases this year. Whoa, missed somewhere. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A little bit low, I suppose. Popped up. Shallow right field. Barry coming on. He says he can get there, and he will. 1 out. That's the way the game began last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good night getting EY out to start it, because he's just like the ignition to the engine. If he gets on, everything else seems to start up and surround their lineup.
Now Todd Hollinsworth. Hollinsworth pinch hit last night, struck out in the 9th inning as a pinch hitter. This will be, as you can see, is a lot better on the road this year than he is at home. This will be for Hollinsworth his 7th start in the last 13 games. Looking to bunt, pulls it back, and takes a strike. So Stasio, at least early on here, throwing strikes. The 0-2 pitch sails high. As you know, when you go against your former team, George, there's a little extra adrenaline flowing through the body.
Well, on both sides. I think the pitcher trying to prove to everyone in that organization, even though it was a year and a half ago that the trade was made, that you're trying to prove to them that they made a mistake. They're trying to prove to you that they didn't make a mistake. So, yeah, it can get pretty interesting.
By the way, the Dodgers made a move. We showed you Grzelcyk in the lineup, and Tommy Lasorda on hand, one of the VPs of the Dodgers. Doing a little observing of this LA team. Grzelcyk back off the DL, so he is inserted into the lineup his first day back. Fastball, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Grzelcyk missed 28 games with a fractured right hand. Changeup held, a foul tip held by Blanco. That's the first strikeout for Stasio, number 98 on the year.
And you wonder why Eric Karros, with his numbers at Coors Field, is not in the lineup and Hollinsworth is in. Hollinsworth's hot bat on the road dictates part of that. Good pitch by Stasio. The numbers for Eric Karros against Stasio lifetime: 083, 1 for 12 with 1 home run. That's the lone hit off of Stasio, so Karros gets a seat on the bench as well as Hollinsworth after the strikeout.
And now Gary Sheffield with 2 out, nobody on. Sheffield frustrated last night. Boy, Darryl Kyle was tougher on Sheffield than anybody. Sheffield came up with runners in scoring position. It seemed like, not all the time, but it seemed that way, that every time he came up, there were runners at 2nd and 3rd.
Kyle made good pitches, and he made them in great locations. In above the hands, and then struck him out with the curveball away, and then went back in with the hands again. Sheffield's numbers against Stasio are .440 average, 11 for 25 with 2 home runs.
Talking with Jim Leland about Darryl Kyle's effort last night, and he said that's the best I've seen from him. And that, remember now, 2 times this year Kyle has pitched shutout innings at Houston and at Philadelphia. But Leland said last night DK was as good as he had seen. Strike 3. Gary Sheffield waves it air. Astacio got it right where Blanco wanted it. Down. 2 strikeouts for Pete. The Dodgers go in order. Well, Jeff Berry batting third in the lineup tonight, taking over for Larry Walker, who's sick in bed right now. Here's the lineup brought to you by the Rocky Mountain News. How about Perez last night, man? It's worth another look. And look what he's done in the leadoff spot since Friday. Then Hamilton and Berry. Bichette had a good night with 4 ribbies last night. Then Castilla, Helton, Shumpert, Blanco, and Astacio. Defensively for LA, and it's brought to you by Dasani. Sheffield, White, Mondesi in the outfield. Beltre, Grzelcyk back in at short. Young, Hollinsworth taking over for Karros. Hundley again behind the plate. And the starting pitcher is Darren Dreifert, the former Shocker.
Darren Dreifert on the year 6-7 with a .569 earned run average. His lifetime record versus the Rockies 1-2. Look at the record in the last 3 starts. 1-2, but the earned run average very good at .338. But also prior to that, not very good. In his last 12 starts prior to these 3, he was 5-5 with a .642 earned run average.
So here's Neifi Perez. His average up over 300 now. A little flare to left center field, but it's going to stay in the air long enough to get to Sheffield. 1 pitch, 1 away for Dreifert. I guess the key word for the Rocky hitters tonight against Dreifert, be patient.
Yeah, if you're patient, he'll get deep into the counts pretty quick. And if he pitches 6 innings in his ball games, when he pitches 6 innings, he's 12-10 in his career. Interesting note, the Dodgers 22-19 in all of his starts at the major league level. In his last 30, they're 4 games over 500, 17-13.
Well, in his last 2 starts, he's actually pitched pretty well, but a loss in both. And both to the Padres. That was when San Diego was going through that terrific 14-game winning streak for them. One and 2 with a 3.38 earned run average for Dreifert in his last 3 starts. 1 and 2 against the Rockies. Up the middle, Young's got it. Thrown across. Save! Hamilton beat it by an eyelash, and he looks out at Eric Young and says, man, how did you get to that ball?
Yeah, Darryl said saying himself, man, this is a tough league. What's this guy doing? All the way over behind second base and then able to get a lot on this throw. If he would have had time to plant the foot, he probably would have been out at first base. I think Darryl thought this ball was through. He looks up and then all of a sudden he sees EY. You see he made that kind of a bend to the outside in foul territory, thinking that ball was going to get through and he'd make the turn. He had to reroute himself.
And now Jeff Berry, the infield hit by Hamilton. You know, I got to see Eric Young here for a couple of years with the Rockies, and he makes that play up the middle as well as any second baseman, honestly. He sometimes struggles going to his glove side, but up the middle, the backhand and the throw off balance, EY is as good at that as almost anybody in the game.
Well, good range because of his speed.
Yes.
He's got very quick feet, gets a quick break on the ball, allows him to get there in a hurry.
He really has made himself a serviceable second baseman defensively. You know what he can do at the plate, but he has done a good job making himself better. And Gene Glenn, former third base coach here with the Rockies, deserves a lot of that credit. Eric Young just an eyelash shy of getting Hamilton. Berry hitting .273 on the year. And the Rockies would like to run. We pointed it out last night. Hundley behind the plate. Elbow surgery. Still not 100%. Has thrown out only 8 of 69 would-be base stealers. That's only 12%. Hundley also charged with 11 errors, which means he's probably thrown a few balls into center field.
Well, what they've tried to do, they've put Rick Dempsey, a former catcher in the American League with the Baltimore Orioles, and is now the bullpen coach for the Dodgers. And what they have done is they've put Hundley with him, and what they've tried to do is speed up his footwork, shoulder turn to get in a throwing position. If the arm's not going to respond, then let's get a quicker body, and that way you can release it that much quicker and cut down the runners at second base. He has improved, believe it or not. It's up to the starting pitcher or any pitcher with the Dodgers. If a runner's on first base, as Dreifert's doing now, varying his throw to the first base to try to hold the runner closer to give that much more of a chance for Hundley.
Swing and a miss and a changeup, and it's 1-2. Now Berry with his first and only Major League home run last Friday as a pinch hitter off Sterling Hitchcock. Berry, that ball went into the tunnel down the left field line. He was able to get the ball back and gave it to his father.
A lot of cab rides in that ball.
Yeah.
A lot of ground balls, a lot of times sitting in the bleachers cheering for your son.
A ball called. So Hamilton will be able to go down to second base. Ed Montague, first base umpire. And he make the call, or was it from behind the plate?
With the Dodgers, they teach a move to first base where you tilt that front heel. And what you do is you tilt the heel up, and then you make a quick turn to first base to make the throw. See if his left heel pops up at all. It's a jump move, and I think that's where he got caught and having a balk called on him. Don Sutton was a perfectionist of that. Rick Sutcliffe was very good at it.
Inside 2-2 now to Jeff Berry. With 2 clutch hits. How about the Rockies last night as a team, George? They were 7 for 10 with runners in scoring position last night.
And against one of the best in baseball, that being Kevin Brown.
Kevin Brown now sitting there thinking about how his season has gone a little bit south, losing 2 in a row. Strike one to Dante Bichette. And Bichette's 2-run single in the first came on an 0-2 pitch after he fouled 3 off. He got one he could handle from Brown, and he ripped it into center field for the 2-run single. Brown last night left in the 7th inning and gave up 6 earned runs. Bouncing ball to the shortstop, Grezzolani. He's got it. Low throw. But Hollingsworth goes down to get it, and that'll do it for the Rockies. An infield hit is all. Dreifert works around that. And after 1, no score. And Pedro Estacio, 2 strikeouts. Got the Dodgers 1-2-3 in the first. I invite you to check out the issue of Rockies Fever, full of feature stories, information about your Colorado Rockies. Look for it beginning July 11th inside the Denver Rocky Mountain News, the official newspaper of the Colorado Rockies. Here's Todd Hundley to lead off. He had a first inning home run in last night's game, and then 0 for 4 after that, so 1 for 5 in the ball game. Five home runs in his last 32 at bats for Hundley.
Well, in his career right now, he's only a .240 career batting average. Right now, he's at .232 on the season. So many people, I think, expected after the explosive year that he had when he hit 41 home runs for the New York Mets, they expected he would come in and hit 40 home runs and drive in 130 runs playing for the Dodgers. It's a different story in that ballpark. There's a reason that their pitching staff has dominated in the National League for so many years. The ball does not fly out of their ballpark.
Change up from Estacio low, and it's 2-1 to Hundley. That's what George was talking about that career batting average. With Hundley, you figure a career, I mean, just if you didn't know, you'd say, well, Hundley probably career is hitting 280, 290.
Oh, absolutely you would.
And that one into the gap in left center will go all the way to the warning track into the wall. Hundley at second base will stop with a lead double. First hit for the Dodgers, first base runner.
2-1 count when he got this base hit, and I think Estacio tried to work the fastball down and away, and he makes a very good pitch on a low ball hitter and Todd Hundley. Hundley makes the turn. I think about right here he had thoughts of looking at 3, and then Dante and Darrell got the ball back in. Slow motion of his swing. And anytime you have surgery on that arm, I still think it took Larry Walker 6 months to get over the surgery. It's taken Todd Hundley that much longer. That's from the left-hand side. You're pulling through and putting a lot of strain on that right arm.
Fastball just outside to Raul Mondesi. We mentioned it last night how Mondesi just on a tear first 2 months of the season. But since June 1st, he really hasn't done a whole lot, and his average down to 265.
Now think of all the talk in April and May about how many home runs he might hit.
Piece of the bat and the ball got Estacio, but he's able to get Raul Mondesi. Hundley moves to third. Now they'll pick up the shattered remains.
You've seen those commercials where you can buy something for $19.99. Well, this is the Kitchen-matic, but it's a fastball in on your fist. Right off the backside of Estacio. Estacio dodges the bat, gains control, gets hold of the ball, and gets the out.
So Mondesi getting the high fives because he moved the runner, wanted to do more than that. The infield comes in now. Devon White. The All-Star team announced at least the starters for the National League today. Those are voted upon by the fans. The league then will pick the reserves and the pitchers. Larry Walker is in. We'll show you the whole list in a little bit. Larry Walker will be one of the starting outfielders, and deservedly so. He's putting up Triple Crown type numbers. It will be the third consecutive starting assignment for Walker and his fourth trip overall. Dante Bichette has also gone to 4 All-Star games. Castilla twice, Galarraga twice. Burks and Eric Young have each gone to 1 as Rockies. Down low, 2 balls and a strike to Devon White. I guess the question would be, who's going to go from L.A.? Every team has to have one.
But I think right now, and it'd be one of 2 guys. I think it'd be Jeff Schott out of the bullpen, their closer with 19 saves, or it'd be Kevin Brown with 9 wins. If Mondesi would have stayed hot like he was, he would have probably had that opportunity.
A lot of guys, though, have 10, 11, 12 wins in the National League. You're right, Mondesi with 19 homers, but he hasn't homered now in almost 90 at-bats. Sheffield, he's hitting around 300, 16 homers, 47 ribbies. Maybe Young with his 32 stolen bases. I mean, nobody really has put up eye-popping numbers. Fouled out play by Devon White.
Correct myself very quickly on Shaw. He has 18 saves. 36 innings pitched.
The leader in saves, Rob Nen, 21. Wagner has 20. Hoffman has 20. Again, the 2-2 pitch hit hard to right field. Barry going back, but he won't get there. And one hops the wall. White thinking 2. Here comes Hundley to score on the double from Devon White. Now the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead here in the second.
Estacio trying to work the heat on the inside, but Devon White swung the bat and hit the ball as if he knew it was coming. Right on a button over the head of Jeff Barry. Barry playing wide around a pull from the left side. was unable to get over and cut off the ball, but now with one out, the runner at second base.
Normally you'd say, hey, that's a good pitch to Devon White down low in the strike zone, but that's kind of feeding it right where Devon White likes it. He is a good low ball hitter, and a good low ball hitter from both sides of the plate. That's rare. A lot of times switch hitters, low ball hitters from the left side, high ball hitters from the right side. Foul ball from Beltre, and it's 1-1.
I always felt when I saw a guy come to the plate and he'd get down in a crouch position, they were low ball hitters. And what I tried to do is get them to come up out of that crouch with fastballs in above their hands, because once they come up, you move their eye level, their plane of the eyes looking at a baseball, and you get a lot of pop flies that way.
One ball, 2 strikes. Beltre 2 for 4 yesterday, including a home run and 2 ribbies. Home run came off Leskanic in the 8th. Swing and a miss. Good job by Blanco to hang on. Strikeout number 3 now for Estacio. Well, we've talked about the National League All-Star teams, and here it is. At catcher, Mike Piazza, the former Dodger. Mark McGuire, the first baseman. Jay Bell, deservedly so, at second. Matt Williams, yeah, he should be the third baseman. Barry Larkin, the shortstop. Walker, Sosa, and Gwynn in the outfield. I think the voters did a pretty good job.
Well, the only one that I probably disagree with a little bit, and he deserves to be on of it whether he starts or not, is Tony Gwynn, because of time missed.
Yes.
You know, he's more voted onto it because of his reputation and past what he's accomplished in baseball. That's nothing against Tony Gwynn. It's just I think there's some guys out there that are having some pretty good years, much like in the American League where Juan Gonzalez was not voted in, and 2-time MVP. How does he not get voted in by the fans?
Yep. Not voted in, and he says he's not going. Another guy at first you could probably put on there instead of McGuire, but I mean, how do you not put McGuire in with 70 homers last year? Jeff Bagwell's had a great year for Houston. Kendall probably could be picked at catcher, but now he's lost for the season with the broken ankle. Piazza, never a bad pick behind the plate. I remember the next day in the paper, he apologized to the fans, saying that's something that a ball player should not do.
Yeah, Doyle Alexander did that with the Yankees in 1983. The same thing in Seattle. He hit the plywood, but he forgot there was a metal beam behind it and shattered 2 knuckles in his pitching hand.
Now they tell us, and our spies were out a little bit, that Kevin Brown did a little bit of damage to the visiting clubhouse last night.
Yeah, you get a little frustrated sometimes. 2 bad outings, you get upset. You find things that you take it out on, and guys do it in different ways. 3 first pitch strikes for Estacio in the first inning. He's only had 1 so far in the second. I think that's a result of the 1 run off of 2 hits.
Flare to right. Here comes White. Throw home. There goes Grzelcyk to second. He'll take second base, and White able to score. So Grzelcyk, just off the DL, produces an RBI single. He takes second on the throw, and it's 2-0 LA.
Ball hit right out in front of Jeff Berry fielded to his side. The throw at home is a good throw, just not strong enough or in time to get Devon White. It makes a difference to the outfield. When it's this big of an outfield, they play very deep. But now with Dreifert up, the pitcher, they've decided to come in. With Dreifert, though, he's hitting .241 on the year with 3 RBIs. Of his 7 hits, 1 of those are a double. A DH in college at Wichita State University during his college days. So he can swing the bat a little bit.
He sure can. He hit .318 for the Shockers with 26 homers. Fastball for a strike, 1-1. It'll be foul, and a ball and 2 strikes to Dreifert. 2 doubles and a single have produced 2 runs for the Dodgers. Strikeouts for Estacio, but Devon White did some damage. An RBI double, and Devo scored another run. So the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead after an inning and a half. Onick just off the shelf. Didn't take him long to dust the rust off, did it? He gets a base hit to score a run, and the Dodgers lead 2-0. How do you make America's largest classifieds better? Well, you guarantee to run them until they sell. Call 892-2020. The Denver Rocky Mountain News, America's fastest growing newspaper. Darren Dreifert, well, he got by an infield single in the first with no damage done. Now he'll face Castilla, Helton, and Shumpert. I wonder if the Rockies will get any additional players on the All-Star team. I think one guy that really should be considered, Nefi Perez, the shortstop.
He's played outstanding defense, and all of a sudden a big push offensively, 41 RBIs. I think another guy that might be considered because of his bat late in a ball game, and that's the way a lot of managers start to set up their ball club. Even if for an All-Star game, they want to win the ball game. Be taken as a guy that could come off the bench in the 8th or 9th inning. 64 RBIs right now. But a tough choices for everybody. I would not want to be the National League manager, Bruce Bochy, try to pick and choose who gets to go, because you're going to disappoint someone. There's always a deserving guy that should be on the All-Star team, and he doesn't make it, and creates hard feelings.
Yeah, every year there's at least one player. Well, this year it's Juan Gonzalez already. He didn't get voted in by the fans. Joe Torre was going to select him, but the Rangers said don't bother, he won't show up.
That's exactly right. And I mean, and Doug Melvin spent 2 hours with Juan Gonzalez saying you're an all-star. The fans deserve it. Then he pops out or flies out at first base, Hollingsworth under it. And he said, you know, you need to go. The fans, just because you didn't get more votes than maybe 3 guys, and his probably plea was that Cleveland's selling out every night. They put their own outfielders out in an all-star game. With Ken Griffey Jr. so popular nationwide that he was the leading vote getter. But he said the fans deserve to see you for 3 or 4 innings in the All-Star game. That's where you want to be. And he said, no, if I'm not going to start, I'm not going. And started to use the line Gary Templeton used years ago. If I ain't starting, I ain't departing.
Helton rips it into the corner. He's heading for second. Mondesi has to track it down. Helton will have a double.
Helton on his swing, looking at it directly from center field. A fastball that Hundley wanted in, and it ran back out over the plate. Belt high, good turn by Cotton Helton. Good hustle right out of the box. He recognizes the arm of Mondesi and the speed that if he gets over there quick enough, It could be a close play at second base.
So held on in scoring position now. The Rockies in the first inning 0 for 2 with a runner in scoring position. And here's Terry Shumpert. Up and in. I can feel for Juan Gonzalez. He should be in the starting lineup for the outfield in the American League. I understand his case, but as a fan, I'd also like to see him in the ball game.
Well, you'd like to have him there. I mean, feelings are something in it, but you only go around in this game once in your life. And to turn down an opportunity to go to the All-Star game, it's a shame that Juan Gonzalez is not going to be a part of it.
A two-time MVP. A guy who is an RBI machine, Gonzalez. But it was one of those cases where Cleveland voters came out in droves.
Well, they did. I mean, Kenny Lofton's having a good year, too. Manny Ramirez, what he's doing in the outfield. 88 RBIs going into today. God, that's a lot of RBIs, isn't it? 88?
It is.
Not even at the break yet. The other outfielder getting a lot of votes, David Justice from Atlanta.
That's the one that surprises me more than anything, is that he would get more votes than Gonzalez.
Yeah, how does he? He's in Cleveland.
Yeah, he's in Cleveland. 2-1 to Shumpert.
Well, it tells you, too, about Texas. They draw pretty well down there.
Well, probably will get a reaction from the Ranger fans next year. I'll bet you Gonzalez is one of the leading vote getters next year.
Every year, we talked about it a second ago, every year there's somebody that doesn't get in. But, you know, in all honesty, I'm glad to see Jose Canseco go in as the DH. Having a tremendous year, 30 home runs. Probably will end up with 32 or 33 by the break on Sunday.
I would like to see baseball expand the roster for the All-Star game a few now that there are 30 teams in baseball. It really puts a lot of pressure on the National League with 16 teams in the National League, and everybody has to have at least one.
It does put a lot of pressure because you get some teams that are struggling, and then you've got to go and pick a player and have that player come and represent the ball club.
They got to have somebody from Florida, somebody from a Milwaukee, or I mean, that's the thing. Shumpert to deep right center field, all the way to the wall. Hunt. Hilton will score easily. Shumpert heading for third. He'll go in standing up. Boy, Shumpert was racing around the base, almost tripped coming around second. A triple for Shumpert, and the Rockies are within one.
Fastball up ahead in the count. Dreifert trying to sneak it by him, but Shump does a good job supplying some power to the opposite field. Watch when the ball hits the fence. It goes straight, ricochets up. Mondesi waiting for it to come off, but the hustle of Shumpert right out of the box. I think he's realizing that this ball's over the head of Mondesi. He could at least get two, but no hesitation at all with the play out in front of Shumpert. He advances to third base. Now it's a golden opportunity for the Rockies. The Dodgers have their infield in with one out.
Well, that's what I saw. I looked up. I was looking first out in right center, and then I looked up and I saw Shumpert kind of stutter step. What he was doing is adjusting his helmet. Almost, the lid almost fell off. He didn't stumble. It was just trying to keep his hat on. In the dirt, good block by Hundley. Now Blanco, he's in his first mini slump with the Rockies. 0 for 7 on the homestand. You know he'd like to do some damage to the Dodger team. Came up as a Dodger. Hit his first career home run as a Dodger, and it came here at Coors Field. Up the middle, base hit. 3 hits in a row for the Rockies. Shumpert scores. We're tied at 2. So the Rockies are a home run shy of the cycle. And we'll see if Astacio can complete it here. The 4th batter for the Rockies here in the 2nd. Single, double, triple for the Rockies here consecutively. Now Astacio most likely will be bunting, trying to get Blanco over to second and give Perez a crack at getting him home.
a lot of movement out of Estasio's bat. Maybe that's why, trying to get a set back to fake bunt and slap it. Hollingsworth and Beltran both coming in at the corners. An uncomfortable feeling even with the pitcher at the plate.
That's no fun charging and then all of a sudden see a guy rear back and take a cut. Like stepping in front of a man in a tee box. Strike 3 called. Stasio caught looking. Second strikeout for Dreifert. Now Neifi Perez now with Blanco still at first base. Perez with a fly ball to Sheffield his first time up.
There's no guesswork whenever you're facing Dreifert. I mean, Dreifert throws 2 pitches, a fastball and a slider. They've tried to get him to work on a changeup, and they've tried to make him throw it during the ball games, but he doesn't throw very many of them. See, about 70% of the time against left-handed hitters, Dreifert will go to the fastball.
Well, he was a closer in college, George, and many thought he'd be a closer in the big leagues, but the Dodgers felt like he could be a starter, and Dreifert wants to be a starter.
Some guys like to take those 4 days off.
Oh, yeah.
Makes that good for golfing days. Versus realizing and taking the pressure on a daily basis out of the bullpen.
Most of your good golfers on a baseball team are starting pitchers.
Absolutely. You got a lot of dead time. You got those 3 or 4 days in between starts. You can go out and hit the golf course. It's amazing how very few clubs, I know coming up, the different organizations I played with, didn't much care for those golf clubs. I always used to get mad. Bob Forrest, starting pitcher with the Cardinals, always was one of the few that always took his everywhere.
Soft liner, Grzelcyk will handle it, but the Rockies get 3 straight hits and 2 runs to tie it. Blanco with a hit, Shumpert with a hit, and Helton had one too. Colorado Rockies baseball being brought to you by U.S. West. Life's better here. And by Bank One, the official bank of the Colorado Rockies. Well, each team with 2 runs in the second. We head to the third. Stasio giving up a pair of doubles in the second and a base hit. Rockies got a double from Helton, a triple to score him from Shumpert, a single to score Shumpert from Blanco. 2-2, and the top of the order up for the Dodgers. Eric Young hit a little pop fly to Jeff Berry in right field his first time up.
Yesterday, EY was very effective in his leadoff role as he started yesterday's ball game, much like today, and then goes out and gets 3 singles in a row, then a walk.
Hammered to right. Berry hardly had to move. Young hit it right on the nose, but right to Jeff Berry.
Well, and a lot of Rockies fans probably sitting at home wishing they had EY back in a Rockies uniform, but at the time of the trade, the Rockies needed pitching. Stasio came over, performed brilliantly for the Rockies. Last year winning 12 ball games, and this year on pace to win 14 or more ball games. He's got 7. He's not at the break yet. So both of these guys, it's very seldom does a trade work for both sides. Helton will take that ground ball and retire Hollingsworth. But a lot of times it will work for both sides. And in this case, it has.
2 out here in the third. Now Gary Sheffield. He struck out his first time up. He has struck out 3 times now in the series already. been around the block, hasn't it? Starting with Milwaukee, San Diego, Florida. It's part of Leland's championship team with the Marlins.
Yeah, the more teams we play, the more guys he gets to see.
Yeah, you're right.
Everybody got traded away.
Got a couple of them over here now. Craig Counsell, the former Rocky second baseman, he was on that Marlin team, and Gary Sheffield. And of course Kevin Brown, you can forget him. Sheffield, high fly ball. And Bichette says, anybody want a souvenir? Just 6 pitches for Pedro Estacio. Dodgers go in order in the third, still 2-2. 2-2 our score still as we head to the bottom of the third. Rockies will send up Hamilton, Berry, and Bichette. We invite you to join the Rocky Wives in their annual toy drive to benefit the Denver Santa Claus shop. This Friday here at Coors Field, bring a new save toy or cash to donate when entering the ballpark. Rockies and the Angels at 7:05 Friday night. If you can't attend the game and would like to make a donation, call 303-312-2306. Now, Mark McGwire is homered tonight for St. Louis, his 27th of the year. Right now the Cards trailing Cincinnati 5-4 in the 6th inning. Hamilton looks at a pitch inside. Hamilton with an infield single, his first time up. Funny BP today. Lenny Harris did a dead-on impersonation of Darryl Hamilton at the plate. I mean, dead on.
Had it all working with the elbows shaking and rocking and the bat up, the legs spread.
Looking at the hands. He had it all going, man. It was funny. I notice Hamilton hasn't looked at his hands once. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lenny Harris. When you're under the watchful eye of Lenny, look out. Trying to get someone's attention out there.
Looks like he enjoys the game, doesn't he?
Yeah. I asked him before I saw the lineup. I asked Lenny if he was in there for Walker. He said, what's wrong with Walker? He didn't even know that Walker had been sent home with a bad case of the flu. And Harris started talking about Larry Walker. And he said, Dave, I'm telling you, I haven't played with anybody better. It's Larry Walker, right now, I think, the best player in baseball. 3-2 pitch to Hamilton. High chopper, fair ball into the corner. Hamilton racing for second. Mondesi picks it up. And Darryl Hamilton has a lead double. So now it's up to Jeff Berry to try to get him over to third.
In his first at bat last night against Kevin Brown, he gets a double. He comes back tonight, a single. Now this double to lead off the third. Mondesi having a little difficulty down on the carpet where it meets the dirt, getting your strides and steps.
That's better than your stripes and stars. Berry calling it back. Berry struck out his first time up. And his job right now to get Hamilton over to third. Well, our AutoZone player profile, Jeff Berry.
Well, here's a guy that has persevered through a lot of days in the minor leagues. 30 years old. He's all whack. Look at this. At San Diego State for 3 years. High school football state champions in Oregon. 2-sport star.
I find myself, George, not just in baseball, but in all sports, really pulling for guys like this. Guys that have persevered and stuck it out. A lot of time in the minor leagues.
There's a couple of guys on this club. Terry Shumpert, one of them. So many times people have told him your career's over, but he took no for an answer and kept battling it, being a major contributor this year with the Rockies. And Barry's much of that same case.
Hot shot. Now they've got Hamilton tied up between second and third. Berry, let's see if he can advance. Hamilton being chased towards third, and no advance by Berry. Well, good job by the Dodgers, really, and there wasn't much Hamilton could do on the line drive. Hamilton tried to stay in a rundown long enough to get Berry over to second, but Jeff never did advance. Now we'll see if Berry can steal a base. It'll go as a fielder's choice. Here's Bichette. He bounced out to short his first time up. .1654 on the putout. You like to keep track of such things. Popped up back towards us. Anytime you see a two-pitch pitcher, and we've talked about Dreifert, fastball, slider, and both similar in velocity, it's usually second, third time through the lineup is when you really start to get to it.
Well, and that's where you look at his starts through his career, only averaging 6+ innings per start in his career.
There goes Berry down to Beltre. His only play will be first base with Berry running. Bichette out. Now the Rockies have another runner in scoring position.
This guy Dreifert fits just about the mold that you want for Vinny Castilla. Good hard fastball, good hard slider, both pitches hard in the strike zone. Dreifert, when he gets hurt, it's just getting the ball up in the strike zone because his ball sinks when it's down, sails when it's up. He'll try to run it hard on the hands of Vinny if he brings the fastball to the inside half. The slider, he'll try to keep it down and away. And there's that inside heat. He's trying to buy 1/3 of the plate, either the outside or inside third. And look, by coming hard in on Vinny, he's trying to go to that outside third of the plate and work it out there.
Sheffield, though, right there to grab it. Well, Castilla hit it on the button, but right to Sheffield. Promising start, nothing doing, though, as Dreifert works around the lead double. Still 2-2. Now, tonight, the 81st game for the Rockies, tied 2-2 as we enter the fourth. And, well, with this being the 81st game, that's the halfway point. Where were they last year? Well, this year, right now, the Rockies at 37-43. Last year, not that good. Fourth in the West, and right now they're fourth in the West again. Well, best time was 95, George, the wild card year.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's 10 games over 500 during that year, but if you look at the standings today, you're just 7 games out in the loss column. So there's great opportunities for the Rockies. If they could get hot at all, like the San Diego Padres, then they'd be in great shape.
Absolutely. Here's Todd Hundley. I remember last year going into the All-Star break, the Rockies were something like, I don't know exactly, but they were something like 20 games back in the Western Division. San Diego pulled away early and never looked back. Hundley didn't mean to, but check swing, fouled it back on the screen. 2 quick strikes on Hundley, who led off the second with a double and scored. Now St. Louis back on top of Cincinnati 6-5 in the 6th inning. The Mets shut out Montreal today 10-0. One ball, 2 strikes now to Hundley. Well, George, halfway point in the season, and we usually look at it at the All-Star break, but right now teams around the 81 game mark, which is really the halfway point, Any surprises to you this year so far?
Well, I think two surprises, really. The Reds in the Central is what they've done and made that climb so fast. So they've done a nice job of mixing in some older veterans and some younger players and getting some career years out of guys. Avery's come over and pitched well for him. Pete Harnish has pitched well for him. Probably the biggest disappointment, the second, is the Baltimore Orioles of what they've done with their payroll. Fly ball out to right. Shumpert goes out. Berry comes in, gets the first out of the inning.
And Dodgers a big disappointment, the highest payroll in baseball.
Yeah, you've got to be disappointed in what they've accomplished. They've gone
I'm not disappointed. I'm just saying
right,
they've been a disappointment.
Yeah, as a baseball fan, you've got to be disappointed in what the Dodgers have done in our division. Yeah, I don't really care anyway.
Yeah.
But you would think with the pitching staff and the lineup that they have, they would be better than what they are inside the standings, and everybody probably thinking the same things along the lines with Malone saying they'll be there in September.
I remember both you and I saying too in spring training, for the Rockies to be successful this year, one of the two kids had to step up, either Jamie Wright or John Thompson. Both are in the minor leagues.
Yeah, both are back in the minor leagues, and now it's going to be up to Bobby Jones to step up, or Roberto Romero's, whoever comes on in this four-man rotation through the break.
Raul Mondesi quickly in a hole, 0-2. No surprise, Cleveland in first place. That was almost a given before the season began. Same for New York. Texas, and they're on top in the West in the American League. Not a big surprise there. Little surprise that Anaheim isn't better. They figured to be better with Mo Vaughn. The Angels coming here over the weekend. Surprised a little bit to see Philadelphia play so well. Off the end of the bat, Helton's got it. The flip to Estacio in time to get Mondesi. 2 out here in the 4th. And I guess Arizona would be somewhat of a surprise, although with all the additions they made to their team in the offseason, not a major surprise.
But, you know, you say that, and in the additions, you look at what the additions the Dodgers made. Those additions in Arizona worked out the year Randy Johnson is having, even though he's lost 3 straight. You know, but you look around baseball, there's some great things that have happened. The years Mike Lieberthal's having in Philadelphia as a catcher, nobody expected him to do that. Canseco coming back in Tampa, 30 home runs, not at the break yet. The year Gonzalez is having. The relief pitchers, Zimmerman in Texas. There's always a new star that comes up in baseball and does something to catch the eye of baseball.
Ken Griffey Jr. having another spectacular year. Sammy Sosa almost on last year's pace. McGuire with a home run tonight is 27. Larry Walker putting up MVP type numbers this year for the Rockies. There have been some, again, spectacular moments in baseball in the first half. Devon White went around, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Devo with an RBI double and a run scored in the second.
We'd be remiss not to bring up that hard throwing right-handed in Beantown, Pedro Martinez.
Oh, man.
That's going to be exciting. I hope he wins 30.
I do too.
I want to see it.
Strike 3. And that'll complete the strikeout as Blanco tags him out. Well, an easy inning. That's the second straight. 1, 2, 3 for Estacio. Now, Pedro Estacio would love a mulligan from the second inning. Otherwise, he has retired the side in order 3 of the 4 innings so far. Go to the bottom of the 4th, tied at 2. Our Aflac trivia question: was the last National League player to be named MVP of the All-Star game? Give you the answer in a bit. Here's Todd Helton. Well, he had a double in the second that got the Rockies going. It was followed by a triple from Shumpert and a single by Blanco. Good swing for Helton. He's back on track again. Todd now 6 for his last 14. 2 for 4 yesterday for Helton, and his average closing in on 300. Almost an orange look to Coors Field right now. That sun setting just cast a wonderful glow over the stadium. Spectacular, isn't it? Makes it tough on the first baseman, but what a view.
Well, the greatest part of our job is we get to see ballparks in a lot of different light that maybe the fan or even the players do. Sitting, we've got the best seat in the house every night, sitting up behind home plate. And this is one of the prettiest ballparks that you can walk into.
Yeah, it really catches your breath.
Yeah, it does. It's clean. I mean, it's a nice ballpark. It's very clean every day. People that work here are outstanding, always very accommodating to you.
Foul tip that was held by Hundley. Strikeout number 3 for Dreifert. This will be a stadium, I think, that will be like Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, which was built in 1973. And if you walked into Kauffman Stadium right now, you'd swear it was built last year. And I think Coors Field, because of the way they maintain this place, will have that same feeling 20 years from now.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Here's Shumpert. And yet, it has that new feeling, but also reminiscent of stadiums past, back in the 30s and 20s.
Well, I like all the different work or the metal work that's around the ballpark. Concession stands. You know I was going to bring that up.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Gee whiz.
Oh, Madeline!
Man.
Been a month since I had strawberry shortcake.
What? What? A little blooper. That's going to drop for a hit, at least one. Shumpert thinking two. Now I'll put on the brakes.
My partner said he'd buy it for everybody in the right field stands if you take it out there.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I don't know. Let's check out the scoreboard first before we decide. Brought to you by Hertz. Yankees over the Tigers in the 8th inning. The Devil Rays beat the Red Sox 6-4. Snaps 3-game losing streak for Tampa Bay. Orioles and Jays tied in the 8th. The Royals on top of the White Sox right now, 7-5 in the 8th inning. The Indians over the Twins in the 7th and just getting going on the West Coast. Shumpert, you figure he's going to try to run sometime here. Rockies really haven't run too much on Hundley yet. They've tried a couple of times, but on both occasions the batter was swinging. No balls, 1 strike to Blanco. He singled home Shumpert his first time up. Not to pick on Hundley, but again, just 8 for 69 this year. Shumpert was leaning. Dreifert almost caught him. Jermaine Dies made a nice comeback with the Royals this year. He's hit a home run tonight, his 17th. Strike 2 to Blanco. Shumpert still standing at first. You're always more hesitant to run at Coors Field because of the thought of a home run. I still remember that year, though, 96, when the Rockies had more than 200 home runs and more than 200 stolen bases. Another ball. Dreifert. I didn't exactly see it, but Bob Davidson called it from behind the plate. That's the second ball call tonight.
Try to see if we can pick something out on Dreifert.
Right
it would cause, if
Yeah.
you start that right hand up to start your motion, you've got to continue on.
That little flick of the right arm, that was all it took. Swing and a miss, and down goes Blanco. Blanco strikes out, the 4th one for Dreifert, 2nd one here in the 4th. Now let's see if Estacio can get him home. Estacio with 3 RBIs this year. Houston at the Bob. playing Arizona. The Astros have taken a 1-0 lead in the first. Waved at and missed by Estacio. Well, Darren Dreifert, a #1 pick by the Dodgers in the '93 draft. He won the Golden Spikes Award out of Wichita State, which signifies that he was voted upon as the best collegiate player that year. He went 26-5 at Wichita State with a 2.24 earned run average and an All-American 3 years. Had a brother Todd Dreifert, who was an outfielder with the Shockers about the same time. Dreifert used to throw even harder with right elbow surgery in March of '95. Tommy John surgery. Dr. Frank Jobe performing it. Swing and a miss, and down goes Estacio, but still effective. Dreifert. He strikes out the side here in the fourth, stranding Shumpert at second. 4 in the books, still tied at 2. Well, the Rockies have twice as many hits, but same amount of runs as we head to the 5th inning. USWest.net makes connecting to the internet easy and rewarding. US West, life's better here. Bottom third of the order up for the Dodgers against Estacio, who has retired the side in order in 3 of the 4 innings, including the last 2. We invite you to visit the Rockies this Friday. Help celebrate Christmas in July. If you're one of the first 20,000 fans here at Coors Field, you'll receive a Rockies Santa hat, compliments of soundtrack. If you're wearing your hat during the game, you may have a chance to win special soundtrack prizes. Rockies and the Angels. Yep, the Anaheim Angels from the American League coming to town over the weekend. Friday night it starts at 7:05. Tickets are still available. Here's Adrian Beltre. He struck out his first time up. High pop-up. Remember, just 6 pitches last inning. And 1 so far here, and 1 out in the 5th.
Well, what a lot of teams try to do when they come in this ballpark, you try to extend the pitchers deep into the pitch count. Estacio right now with 59 pitches in the 5th inning. That's not very bad. That's 15 pitches so far. If he could get through this inning, or less than that, 12 pitches. If he gets out of this with 65 pitches, that's very good.
Very good.
He's only had the 1 bad inning, that inning back in the 2nd inning, when the Dodgers put together 2 doubles and a single to come up with 2 runs in that inning.
All 3 of their hits coming in that frame. Grzelcyk, one of those hits, he singled home the Dodgers' 2nd run. A little flare to right field. Another flare to right. Barry, though, had him played a little more shallow this time. And there are 2 quick outs in the 5th. I'll give you our answer now to our Affleck trivia question. The last National League player to be named MVP of the All-Star game. The answer is Mike Piazza. He was with the Dodgers then. 1996. Now Darren Dreifert, strike 1. Dreifert struck out his first time up. 1 of 5 for Estacio.
Boy, both of these guys going right at the hitters on each opposing team. Estacio throwing a lot of strikes, getting ahead in the count. Dreifert much of the same.
Well, last night the marquee of Kyle and Brown, the 2 aces. This one just as good a pitcher's duel,
if not better. There's no walks so far in the ball game for either one of these pitchers. Kyle last night, I think the key to that, walked 1 in 7 innings, but brought back the slider. And what I mean by bringing that slider back, he brought it back in the strike zone.
Now Estacio works another 1, 2, 3 inning. We're halfway through from Coors Field, and we're tied at 2. Colorado Rockies baseball is brought to you by Hertz Local Edition, neighborhood locations with low rates. and by Voice Stream Wireless. Get more from life. Isn't that a pretty picture? Sight that needs no description. Well, we head to the 5th inning for the Rockies, the bottom of the 5th. And the top 3 guys will be up. 3rd time through the lineup now.
Well, I was just getting ready to say, you mentioned that earlier. This is the 3rd trip through for the Rockies, and it's the top of the order. If you're going to get on Dreifert, now's the time to do it. You don't want to let him get any more comfortable. And their bullpen, if you get down to Shaw, it's in pretty good shape. Look at the number of pitches by Estacio. 13 in the 1st. When he got in trouble in the 2nd, 26. Then just 6 in the 3rd, 13 in the 4th, 7 in the 5th. Dreifert, much of the same, 59 pitches through 4, 40 of those for strikes.
Perez to center field. Devon White just lopes after the ball, and first out of the 5th inning. I wonder how many made the trek up I-35 over to I-70 from Wichita to watch Darren Dreifert here at Coors Field. Dreifert grew up in Wichita. Hamilton has 2 of the Rockies' 6 hits. Strikes on Hamilton. Now Dreifert from Wichita. His dad, a history professor at Wichita State. In fact, his dad, chairman of the history department at WSU.
It's bad enough to go to school whenever your dad's the principal, but when you got to go to college and have him oversee everything going on there.
2 strikes on Hamilton.
Gene Stevenson, the head coach at Wichita State, was my hitting coach in college at OU. And he spoke very highly of Dreifert and the job that he did as a DH, but as Dave pointed out, his closer out of the bullpen when their ball club was very good. Well, probably the most famous alumni to come out of Wichita State was Joe Carter.
From a baseball standpoint, sure.
Absolutely, is what he accomplished, and he went there as a quarterback wide receiver out of Oklahoma City Millwood High School.
Mike Lansing, of course, also coming out of Wichita State. A few guys have made it in the NBA. Cliff Levingston, Xavier McDaniel, Antoine Carr.
Used to watch Livingston and Carr come into Tulsa and play all the time there, and what a show they could put on.
It was the early 80s for Wichita State. A lot of Kansas fans remember the Battle of New Orleans, won by the Shockers 66-65. 3 balls, 2 strikes here to Hamilton. Hamilton got down in a hole early, 0-2, but able to fight it back to a full count. Again, a foul ball. Well, Dreifert will tell you that he never really watched baseball growing up. He was more of a Boston Celtics fan. Spent a lot of time watching Larry Bird and the Celtics. He said last thing he wanted to do after playing a 3-hour baseball game was go home and watch it. But now he says he's more of a student of the game. Into left center, but not very deep, and Sheffield's got it. 2 outs here in the 5th.
I'm sure a lot of fans and friends and family here watching him pitch now. He resides, makes his home in Wichita, Kansas. So there's probably some fans that have driven up I-70 to get here to watch this ball game tonight.
Maybe even brother Todd. His teammate at WSU. Todd never made it to the big leagues. Stopped at Double-A. Here's Barry. Down low. Now, Barry's last time up hit the ball hard, a line shot, but Dreifert able to get a glove on it, knock it down, and then they got Hamilton, who led off the third with a double and a rundown. 2-0 to Barry. That's the first 3-0 count from Dreifert.
He's had a couple of 3-2 counts as he did on Darrell Hamilton. The first time he's fallen behind all the way 3-0.
There he takes ball 4. That's the first walk from Dreifert. So now he'll have to face Bichette with a man aboard. Bichette his third look at Dreifert. And you know Dante's been studying in the entire game. Let's see if he can time one of those fastballs or sliders. Kid. He went back to Wichita State and got his degree in '95. At the urging of his professor father. There goes Barry. Throw down is high, but still in time to get Barry. Well, Hundley tosses out Jeff Barry. That's only the 9th man he's caught all year. That's the way the 5th ends. We go to the 6th, still tied at 2. Twilight in the Rockies as we head to the 6th inning in a 2-2 ball game. Eric Young, Todd Hollinsworth, Gary Sheffield, 3 scheduled batters for the Dodgers. Astasio's been brilliant except for the second. He is retired L.A. in order in every inning except the second, when the Dodgers put together 3 hits and 2 runs. Young, 2 fly balls to Jeff Barry so far.
I still believe that the light air does not have as much to do with pitching in this ballpark as it does the humidity in the ballpark. In the last 2 days, the humidity has been up. Starting to say humidity has been up the last 2 days. As a result of that, better breaking balls by the pitching staff, both sides. Kyle's curveball and slider were outstanding last night. So far tonight, Astasio breaking ball has been very good.
More movement on the pitches. 1-1 pitch to Eric Young is over for strike 2. Boy, the Giants are hot, aren't they? They lead San Diego 4-0. Now San Diego, the air kind of went out of their sails a little bit when the Rockies swept that day-night doubleheader. They tried to get it back the next day, but now back home and having a dickens of a time. Castilla knocks it down, still has time to throw across the diamond to get Eric Young.
Mike Young standing at the plate, gets after a slider from Astacio, and a line drive, low line drive to Castilla, and then it hit off of his glove. He picked it up and threw out EY rather easily.
It's the 10th straight, or excuse me, 11th straight retired by Astacio. Going back to Dreifert, striking out in the second inning to end the second. Todd Hollandsworth, the batter. Well, that ends that streak. I didn't mean to jinx him. Hollandsworth, well, his performance has been well documented by the Dodgers.
Yeah,
16 Rookie of the Year awards.
And look at the rest of these awards given to these players. 9 Comeback Player of the Year awards. Tim Wallach the last. 12 National League MVPs. The last, Kurt Gibson. 8 Cy Young winners.
You know what's amazing, though, with all these Rookie of the Year awards that they had, and they had 5 straight. Caros, Piazza, another base hit here by Sheffield. Hollandsworth will stop at second on the single. They really haven't been a dominant team in the 90s. The last time the Dodgers won was '88. In fact, the Dodgers haven't even won a postseason game since winning the World Series in '88. 0 for 10. Well, back-to-back singles here by Hollandsworth and Sheffield. Now Todd Hundley comes up with 2 aboard and just 1 out. Well, Hundley gets ready. We'll remind you to sign up your child for the Rocky Rookies Kids Fan Club. Kids 15 and under can join by calling 312-2BAT. Pick up an application at Target or any Rockies dugout store, or even go online to do it. www.coloradorockies.com. Fly ball, well hit center field, but it'll stay in the yard. Tagging at both bases. Hamilton's throw, rightfully so, comes into second. Shumpert knocks it down. Hollandsworth goes to third, but he's there with 2 out. Runners at first and third. So now Raul Mondesi, who has really been in a funk for the Dodgers. 1 for 4 yesterday. 0 for 2 today. .86 at bats without a home run. Breaking ball outside. Houston still leading Arizona 1-0. That one in the second in Phoenix. New York has come back on the Tigers and lead Detroit 8-7 in the 9th. Down to Castilla. He's got it in the air, and that'll do it. Dodgers get 2 hits, but Astacio works out of it by getting both Hundley and Mondesi. We go to the bottom of the 6th, still tied at 2. Now Darren Dreifert and Pedro Astacio going head-to-head. Quite a pitcher's duel here at Coors Field tonight. Bank One has great rates on home equity loans. Call 1-800-800-LOAN. Go online at bankone.com to apply, and you can have an answer in 50 seconds or less. If approved, you'll receive a Rocky sports bag valued at over $100. With George Frazier, Dave Armstrong, we head to the bottom of the 6th inning at Coors Field. In a 2-2 ball game, all the scoring came in the second inning. Dante 0 for 2 tonight. 2 ground balls to the left side. With that elbow surgery, back in '95, still throws in the mid-90s.
He's one of the few guys, I think, that have come back from that surgery day and able to come back and be just almost to normal with that hard slider to the range 85 to 90 miles an hour. Second time tonight we've seen Ely deep in behind second base. The other not successful in getting Hamilton, but this time very successful in getting Dante Bichette. There's that range again. I think he realizing two things. He planted the right foot and threw to get Dante, a right-handed hitter who doesn't have the as good a speed as Hamilton, who swings from the left side.
So now Castilla. We expected more walks from Dreifert tonight. He's only walked one. Coming into this game, he had walked 52 batters in 87 innings. Strike one to Castilla. Dreifert has been on. Stasio has for the Rockies as well. Castilla chases one out of the strike zone. Come on out Sunday, last game before the break. All fans will receive a '99 Rockies team poster courtesy of Coors. Rockies take on the Anaheim Angels here at Coors Field, and tickets are still available. Got him. That's strikeout number 6 for Darren Dreifert. Well, Hundley, getting a few jeers, is just trying to throw it around the diamond. He throws it into left field.
His arm's feeling pretty good. He threw out Jeff Berry at second base. Now he comes out from behind and says, it's an easy little toss. Okay, never mind. Whoops. Sorry. I wanted Sheffield to work on the balls down in the corner.
Now here's Helton. A double and a strikeout. Total of just 11 hits in this ball game. Out to short. Grzelcyk. Rockies go in order in the 6th inning. The duel continues at Coors Field. Who's going to give? Dreifert or Stasio as we head to the 7th. Rockies baseball is being brought to you by your Front Range AMCO transmission dealers. Call 1-800-GO-AMCO. By AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Coors Light, who invites you to experience CU's return to dominance by calling 1-800-87-BUFFS for 99 football season tickets. Coors Field watching a rare pitchers duel this year. 2-2 our score as we head to the 7th inning. Devon White will lead off for the Dodgers, then Beltre and Grzelcyk. White trying to get something started, looking to bunt, and bunts it foul. Devon White grew up in Jamaica at the age of about 9-10. He moved to New York City. Said had he stayed in Jamaica, he'd probably be playing cricket instead of baseball. And when he first moved to New York, he was more of a basketball player and a basketball fan than baseball. Down low, 2 strikes on Devon White. White signing a 3-year contract with the Dodgers in the offseason for over $12 million. White originally with the Angels. He's also played for Toronto, the Marlins and Arizona. Swing and a miss, and down he goes. 7th strikeout for Estacio. He has 104 now on the year.
So far tonight for Estacio, this is 7th strikeout of Devon White. 12 first pitch strikes, 7 strikeouts, 2 strikeouts in the first and second innings, and only 1 3-ball count all night, a 3-2 count to Grizzolonic, and that ended up in an RBI single in the second inning. Other than that, he's been near perfect.
Most strikeouts for Estacio this year, 11. He did it at Wrigley early May. Most strikeouts in his career in one ball game, a dozen. Hit to right. Berry closing ground. He's got it. 2 out in the 7th. Let's go for the National League scoreboard now, brought to you by Dasani. Pirates over the Cubs today. The Phillies shut out the Brewers 1-0. The Marlins over the Braves in the 8th inning. Mets all over the Expos. Cardinals, McGuire has a home run, his 27th. They lead in the 8th. The Astros early lead on the Diamondbacks, and the Giants, they're ahead of the Padres again, 5-1 in the 3rd. Here's Grizzolonic. Grizzolonic with a flare single, his first time up to score a run. Just 84 pitches for Estacio so far. Fastball by him, and it's 2-2. Grizzolonic didn't rehab very long. Went to Single A San Bernardino and was 4 for 16 in 4 games. Big reason for the Giants lead is a 3-run homer from Marvin Bernard, his 6th of the year. Swing and a miss, and down goes Grizzolonic. 2 more strikeouts for Estacio. 8 now in the game. Stretch time at Coors Field in a 2-2 ball game.
Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old game.
A little medley from Golden, Colorado. We thank you, folks, for our 7th inning stretch. Now the Rockies would like to somehow get the lead against Darren Dreifert, who has been tough since the 2nd inning when the Rockies put 3 hits together, a double, a triple, and a single. He has given up a double to Hamilton in the 3rd, a single in the 4th to this man, Terry Shumpert, and that's it. A walk to Berry in the 5th, but then Berry caught stealing. Strike 1 to Terry Shumpert. Shumpert with 2 hits. He and Hamilton each have 2 for the Rockies.
Now the key has been both of these offensive teams have tried to attack each pitcher early in the counts. Neither pitcher in the 7th inning above 90 pitches yet.
They have been throwing strikes, 2 and 1. The key for Dreifert, Bichette and Castilla combined 0 for 6. And Nafi Perez, who had 4 hits last night, 0 for 3. The key for Estacio, just a single from Sheffield. That's it. Mondesi 0 for 3. Eric Young, their leadoff man, 0 for 3. Up the middle, base hit. Shumpert 3 for 3. Now again, this is where you'd like to see Shumpert try to steal a bag. Now Dreifert. We'll look at Blanco. How do you set this inning up with Blanco and then Estacio?
Well, I think you've got to try to take the chance to steal a base in this situation. But you see Dreifert with a pretty quick move, but he's had 2 balks called on him tonight. Is he going to be a little gun shy to use the good move to first base? Ed Montague called a balk on him, and so has Bob Davidson, the home plate umpire.
By Blanco, strike 1. Blanco looking down at Rich Donnelly to see if Shumpert's going to be running. Shumpert still doesn't have a real good read of Dreifert's move. Not going, and the pitch called strike 2. Hundley with a sign, Shumpert with a lead. Terry again not going. The pitch into the right field corner. Shumpert racing to third. Blanco with a base hit. Now Terry Shumpert rounding third base, almost tripped over the bag. Blanco comes through with his second hit. They're at the corners, nobody out.
Good job of hitting by Henry Blanco, trying to put the ball in play. You have runners at first base. You want to hit the ball to the right side, take advantage of the hole. Blanco does better now. See how that head's down? Yeah, that's beautiful. He stayed right on the pitch. As soon as it's hit in right field, Shumpert's gone. He's coming around second base, picking up Rich Donnelly. And as he gets to third base, he's trying to see the throw and trips over the bag. That bag man got him again at third.
Now Estacio. Do you lay down a bunt here? Runners at first and third and nobody out. What would you do at home? How about a base hit? Estacio helps his own cause. It's 3-2 Rockies.
Well, Estacio did such a nice job of Dreifert, thinking that he was going to bunt the baseball. The thing Dreifert didn't do was he didn't snap that slider really hard on the outside half of the plate. He hung it 87 miles an hour. Look how high up that pitch is. It's almost belt high on Estacio, and the go-ahead run comes in, and Shumpert, the third run of the ball game. That is Estacio's 4th RBI on the year for Pete, and he puts himself ahead in this ball game 3-2.
Now more decisions if you're a manager. Do you bunt again or try to bunt, or do you let Perez swing away?
Well, you got to take into consideration, you got a guy at the plate that handles the bat very well, sacrificing people over. If Napie stays in the box, doesn't try to bunt for a base hit, he's a very good bunter. When he tries to run out of the box, he's not. But you got average speed at second and a pitcher on first base. Last thing you want is a double play. Beltre's playing in on the grass. They'll try to go for the force at third base.
Nice catch by Bob Davidson.
Yeah. If you're Napie Perez, you try to lay the ball up the third base line hard and have Beltran come and get the ball.
Perez 0 for 3 so far in this ball game. Rockies have taking the lead. Still nobody out. 2 men on. Remember, the Rockies scored 5 times in the 7th in last night's ball game. Perez again bunts it foul.
Well, you see what I was talking about with Napier as he squared around the bunt. Everything's fine. As the pitch comes, it's like he's trying to get a head start up that line to take off before he stays with it. Here, you're giving up your whole body. You're not doing anything. I see Napier's one of the better bunters in the National League. But as the pitch comes, see that front shoulder start to pull out a little bit, head up to the first base side. Changes the plane of the bat. Versus staying square, it starts to tilt backwards and results in a lot of foul tips. If Napier stays in the box and sacrifices, there might not be a better bunter in the National League than Napier Perez. 20 bunt base hits last year.
Now swinging away with 2 strikes, looks at a ball.
Remember, though, in the Rockies, since Napier has gone to the leadoff spot, the Rockies have scored 34 runs. Napier Perez has driven in 11 of them.
Bouncing ball up the middle, deflected. Now the only play for Eric Young will be to tag Estacio. The force there. Perez on at first base on the fielder's choice. Blanco moves to third. Let's get you caught up to date if you're just tuning in. Bank One game summary. The Rockies behind a strong pitching effort from Estacio and with the go-ahead single here in the 7th inning. Shumpert 3 for 3. The Rocky 1 through 5 hitters. Well, it's been all Hamilton. The rest of the guys 0 for 3, 0 for 4 now for Perez. Davey Johnson going out to the mound.
You don't know if he's out to make a pitching change. He's got the left-hander going down into the bullpen, and he is going to make the pitching change and go to Barbone and bring Barbone in, Pedro Barbone Jr. into the ball game to face Darrell Hamilton. And realistically, Darren Dreifert, you pitched a good ball game.
Well, it's the 3rd one in a row for him, but it might be his 3rd loss in a row. So Pedro Barbone coming in the U.S. West pitching change, and we're back in a moment. Now, Darren Dreifert, I asked who would give first. Well, it was Dreifert here in the 7th, giving up 3 singles in a row to Shumpert, Blanco, and Estacio. Now with the runners at first and third, and the left-handed hitting Hamilton coming up. Davey Johnson has gone to his bullpen. Pedro Barbone, who has been tough, 4th amongst National League relievers with a 1.74 ERA.
Yeah, he's been outstanding from the left side. Look what left-handers are hitting against him. 127, a 2-1 record.
Well, with that in mind, do you maybe try to squeeze?
Well, Hamilton handles the bat very well. He's never faced Pedro Barbone, who, by the way, I will tell you, his father was a pretty good relief pitcher in his own right.
And this Pedro, his own left.
I love it.
Too high, 2-0.
You know what's impressive, don't you, about Darrell Hamilton? 330 against left-handers with 2 home runs versus right-handers 302. Managers try to get the lefty-lefty matchup and a righty-righty matchup, thinking they have that advantage. In this case, not with Hamilton.
Barbone in danger of loading him up. At the belt is strike. And now you think, do you start to run Perez? Maybe not with 1 out. The fly ball right now. And score Blanco from third. But with 2 out, you think Perez would be running. Maybe he will here anyway. There he goes, and the pitch fouled back. Well, if he ran 3-1, most likely he'll run 3-2.
Yeah, and I think you'll see, I'd be very surprised to see Todd Hundley even release the ball, and if he does, it'll be at third base to try to get Blanco, not at second base to get Perez. A healthy Todd Hundley, no question. His arm not at 100%. 9 out of 63, is that correct, or 60 people successful?
Ball 4 called. No throw from Hundley. That's ball 4, and that loads him up. Well, now you have the switch hitting Jeff Berry up, and Davy Johnson. It looks like he's going to stick with Bourbon to pitch to Berry. Then you've got a couple of right-handed hitters in Bichette and Castilla. They're loaded for Berry.
And what did he do the last time he faced a left-handed pitcher? He hit a home run. Berry hitting .333, just 6 at-bats against left-handers. He's gotten 2 hits, one of those a home run.
Rockies would easily settle for a base hit right now. Home run would be icing on the cake. Inside, ball 1. And Bourbon coming out of the pen a bit wild. Way wide. It's 2-0. Davy Johnson, he's watched Bourbon so effective all year, but struggling here. Beltre is going to try to encourage him.
You know, this is when a crowd can really play a role with a relief pitcher if they've gotten loud behind Jeff Berry while he's at the plate. The opposition is hitting just .148 against Bourbon. He has walked 15 batters in 31 innings.
3-0. Well, Berry will take at least 1. Nowhere to put him. A walk brings home a run. It is a red light right now. Blanco, Perez, and Hamilton aboard. And now Berry can afford to be choosy. Pick a spot, pick a pitch. If it's not there, don't swing.
One out. It's got to be something you can open that front side up and drive the ball hard and get it in the air.
He does, but he got in front of it. Yanked it foul. Now a full count to Berry, and he might have broken his bat. He did. Bourbon glaring in. Davy Johnson, you know, his stomach is turning along with Leland's. Well, the base is loaded, and the 3-2 pitch on its way. Hit high in the air to deep left center field. White going back. He's there to make the grab. Perez tags. Blanco comes home. The Rockies lead by 2 on a sac fly from Berry.
Nice job by Berry with the long fly ball. As he said, get a pitch you can get up into the air and get that runner home. Davy Johnson out of the dugout one more time. He'll go down into his bullpen and bring in the right-hander Alan Mills, who pitched in last night's ball game.
You know, as I mentioned, the Rockies 5 in the 7th last night. Already 2 here in the 7th to take the lead. Bourbon leaves with a walk and a sac fly, and here comes Alan Mills. Well, you knew something had to give, and the first man to blink, Darren Dreifert, here in the 7th inning. Astacio has pitched through 7 and allowed just 2 runs on 5 hits. Dreifert still responsible for Perez at third, and the third pitcher now used for LA will come in, but on the double switch as Vizcaino takes over at short for Grzelcyk. Vizcaino will bat in the number 9 spot, and the pitcher spot now becomes Grzelcyk's position in the lineup card. Here's Alan Mills. He pitched here last night.
Mills entering into his 34th ball game. Did not have success in last night's ball game. He pitched a third of an inning, gave up a couple of hits, had a strikeout and a run. Part of that 7th inning Dave talked about, where the Rockies exploded and broke the game wide open.
Well, let's see if Bichette can blow this one open. Base hit. Perez will score. So the Rockies get another here. Dante Bichette comes through again. He was 0 for 3 heading into that at bat. But another RBI, his 65th of the year.
Dante just amazes you with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Goes down and gets that slider from Alan Mills at knee height. You see a ball start to break away from Dante, and he's able to pull it into the outfield for a base hit and drive in Napi Perez.
That'll complete the line on Dreifer, George. He goes 6 1/3, 5 runs, all earned, 9 hits, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. Pop foul over near the stands and about 6 rows deep. Follow the bouncing ball. Castillo 0 for 3 in the ball game. Seen a lot of that look from Vinny Castilla this year. A lot of that look of frustration. Slapping at the bat, a lot of mumbling to himself in the batter's box. Now back again. And again shaking his head. That's normally a pitch that Vinny, when he's on, he crushes. Rockies lead 5-2 with 2 innings to go. Good block by Hundley. Still 1-0 Houston over Arizona. That game in the 5th inning at the Bob. And the Giants on the Bernard 3-run homer still lead San Diego 5-1. That one in the 4th inning. Good discipline there by Castilla. 2 pitches out of the strike zone. He did not offer it either. For the Rockies, but Dante Bichette with a base hit to cap a 3-run 7th. Astacio really got it going with an RBI single. Rockies lead by 3 after 7. Well, this is borderline shameless here. Our cameraman Brian Smith signing autographs at the ballpark. We've made him a celebrity, George.
Yeah, how about it? Look at him. Oh yeah. Oh, Brian, you are one of a kind.
Man, oh man, you and I haven't signed an autograph all year, and our camera guy, Brian Smith, is huge up there. He's got his own entourage. Man, how you gonna act now, huh? Now that you're famous.
Poor Sam's in the booth with us. Nobody can come get him.
No.
Huh? Oh, he come in and get his autograph. He goes out under security with me every night. I'm his guard.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start keeping an eye on Brian up there. Vizcaíno, who came in on the double switch, leads off for the Dodgers. Bouncing ball. Shumpert's got it. 1 out in the 8th. Well, what's on tap for us? Brought to you by Bud Light, leading up to the All-Star break. We'll broadcast the third game of this series tomorrow over on Fox Sports Net Rocky Mountain. Our coverage begins at 6:30. And then before the break, Anaheim Angels come to town, all three on Denver's WB2. A little break time, and we'll start things off on WB2 at Cincinnati after the break. It won't be hot there, will it, George? Promise me.
Kinda. Not bad hot, though.
Yeah, it was 154 on the turf. Yes, I'm not kidding. I'm not making that up.
I know.
You laugh like I just made up a number. It was 154 degrees on the turf at Synergy the other day.
Well, you know, all the time when we're out in these hot booths, sweating.
Coat and tie. Mike
Helling and Ken Miller always go, really, it's only 68 down here in the production truck.
2 strikes on Eric Young. A frustrating night for EY. That one got jammed. Perez, 2 out. Boy, Stasio, he is en fuego. He is on target here tonight, isn't he? On fire and on target.
Throwing a lot of strikes, just 92 pitches so far, and you're in 7 2/3 inning. You know, before we go to Cincinnati, what I'm going to do, have you seen those new little deals? I'm going to buy us one. I'm going to go buy Eagle
fan.
Hardware and Garden and more of everything.
Air conditioning unit for our booth?
No, it's a hat. It's got a little fan up there and on the bill.
Oh, I've seen those.
You want to wear it?
No.
What do you mean, no? You'd rather just sit there and sweat? I'll get you a desk fan.
I remember last year I bought the short sleeve white dress shirt.
Yeah, you're not doing that again.
No, we're not doing that again.
And you're not taking it off and wearing that tank top again either.
Well, I might.
No, you're not.
Hollinsworth, the high pop fly. Estasio's going to get out of this with no damage and just 7 pitches. So Estasio sailing along. The Rockies lead 5-2 going to the bottom of the 8th. Alan Mills, who struck out Castilla to end the 7th, stays in to pitch to the Rockies in the 8th, facing Helton, Shumpert, and Blanco. Coors Light reminds you that it's the end of the century, the start of a legacy. Experience CU's return to dominance by calling 887 Buffs for 99 football season tickets. Todd Helton, he got the offense going in the 2nd with a double, and he scored the Rockies' first run. 2 hopper down to Hollinsworth. They flip to Mills. 1 out here in the 8th. You know, they don't keep track of such things anymore, the game-winning RBI. But Estasio would have it right now.
All the way around, the game-winning RBI as a hitter, then the game-winning job as a pitcher. Boy, he has been as good or better than Darryl Kyle from last night.
And that's saying a lot.
That's saying an awful lot. Kyle walked just 1 last night. Stasio tonight, no walks.
And he has retired the Dodgers in order in 6 of the 8 innings. Shumpert. He's 3 for 3. Shumpert a triple, an RBI triple in the 2nd. He scored, singled in the 4th, and got the rally going in the 7th with a lead single. Rockies with 3 in the 7th, 2 in the 2nd. Rockies have now outscored the Dodgers in the 7th inning alone. I mean, think about the 7th inning for the Rockies so far in this series. 8-0 in favor of the Rockies. pop-up. They finally got Terry Shumpert. 2 out here in the 8th. Almost a case, George, where you wouldn't mind Blanco making out so Estacio doesn't have to hit again. Just let him go back out there and pitch the 9th.
There are 2 sides to that.
I know.
Let him hit so you can get the ovation.
Well, yeah.
But you don't want him running the bases.
No. Just relax. Just think about pitching. And coming up in the 9th for the Dodgers, the heart of their order, Sheffield, Hundley, and Mondesi. Nobody warming in that Rockies bullpen, so it's Estacio's game. Still 5-1 San Francisco over San Diego. That game in the 4th inning. And Houston has scored a couple more. They now lead at Arizona 3-0 in the 6th. Arizona, they're in an offensive slide right now. Shut out by Jose Jimenez yesterday and being shut out here tonight. Jose Lima, the starting pitcher for the Astros tonight, looking for his 12th win. The 2-2 pitch. Too high. 3-2 now to Blanco. Well, if Blanco walks, we'll try to stay quiet just so you can hear the ovation for Estacio. Bouncing ball over the shortstop, Vizcaíno. Dug out by Hollingsworth, and that'll do it for the Rockies in the 8th. Well, 3-run lead going to the 9th. Estacio going for his 4th complete game of the year. Rockies baseball is being brought to you by the Denver Rocky Mountain News, America's fastest growing newspaper. By Dasani, a new water from Coca-Cola. Replenish the source within. And by your Front Range Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler Plymouth dealers. Well, Estacio has been brilliant tonight, now going for the complete game. It would be his 4th of the year. The record for the Rockies, complete games in a season, Roger Bailey in '97 had 5.
No more can you say about Estacio than what you just did, other than he has been outstanding all night. Ahead in the strike zone with all of his pitches. Strikeouts tonight, 7 for Estacio in the game. He's yet to walk a batter.
Well, with Tommy Lasorda in attendance, you know Estacio's loving every minute of this.
Yeah, and, you know, that's amazing how you look up in the stands, see former general managers, and you go, hey, nice trade. I like where I am. How about you?
Again, as you look at the Lions score, Dodgers getting their 2 runs in the 2nd when they had 3 of their 5 hits. The other 2 hits came in the 6th inning. In every other frame, Estacio has retired the Dodgers in order. Ball 1 to Gary Sheffield. He has 1 of the 5 hits. Sheffield, Hundley, Mondesi. So for Estacio to get the complete game, he's going to have to earn it. The heart of the Dodger order. Overthrowing a bit on those first 2, and it's 2-0. Six pitches for Estacio. Right through there.
Yeah, part of this is Estacio smelling the victory line. You start to overthrow some pitches and leave them up in the strike zone.
Estacio looking for win number 8. Pop foul out of play. 2-2 now to Sheffield. Sheffield in this at bat has seen a steady diet of fastballs. Does Pedro go to something off speed now? And San Diego, they scored 4 times in the 5th inning to tie San Francisco 5-5. Another fastball, that one high, 3-2.
Tough to stay back in this situation if you're a starting pitcher, as Estacio is.
Base hit, Sheffield, his 2nd of the game. Now Sheffield gets aboard. Just in case, Rockies do have action now in their bullpen. In case Estacio begins to tire. That was his 100th pitch. Dave Veers, the closer, getting ready just in case.
Bears pitched in last night's ball game, had a walk and 2 strikeouts in an inning's work. Not a safe situation. He has 13 on the year.
Hundley with a double in the 2nd inning. Outside, ball 1. Estacio wobbling a bit here in the 9th, falling behind Hundley after falling behind Sheffield. That is something that he did not do in the first 8 innings. He got ahead of the hitters. Tying run to the plate. Raul Mondesi in that on deck circle. 0 for 3, but remember, he still has 19 home runs. Strike 2, 3-2. Strikeout for Estacio.
Got him to go after a heater up out of the strike zone. Look at the ball sailing, rides out of the strike zone for Estacio, and he gets the 9th strikeout of the ball game. No walks in the game and just 6 hits for Pedro Estacio.
Now Mondesi 0 for 3 in this ball game. His average down to 262. For the Rockies to further distance themselves from the Dodgers. Already 2 games ahead of LA. Strike. Still throwing 93, 94 on the radar gun. towards us. Still 1-2 to Raul Mondesi.
All the great numbers Estacio has posted tonight. One that means a lot to me as a broadcaster and former pitcher. Only third 3-ball count, and that's when it was on Todd Hundley. The other to Grzelcyk into the last 2 batters.
Mondesi definitely a strikeout candidate. He has struck out more than 100 times the last 3 years and already has 65 this year. Estacio rubs up a new ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Raul Mondesi. That's the guy the Rockies are worried about. The man in the on-deck circle. Sheffield cruised into second on that pitch. The Rockies showing indifference. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to Mondesi. We'll do 2-2 again. Mondesi hanging tough against Estacio. Making him work. Already 113 pitches now for Pedro. Just trying to close her down. Mondesi 0 for 4 as he shrugs back to that dugout. Now 1 out to go. They come to their feet at Coors Field in anticipation of the Rockies' 2nd straight win over the Dodgers. Strike 1. Rockies looking for their 4th win in the last 5 games. The crowd will tell you ball or strike now. Play. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Devon White.
Well, Estacio closing this game out like pitchers love to do it. After the base hit, the strikeout of Todd Hundley, then the strikeout of Raul Mondesi, and now ahead in the count to Devon White. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And not only can Estacio smell it, so can the crowd.
Estacio ready. The 2-2 pitch. A little extra on that one. Again, you don't want to walk Devon White, make him hit his way aboard if he's going to do it. Because if you walk him, you bring up the tying run and Adrian Beltre.
Devon White has struck out tonight on curveballs from Pedro Estacio in his last 2 at-bats in the 7th and in the 4th. He hit a double off of a fastball in the 2nd. The crowd starting to chant Pedro.
Bouncing ball, Shumpert, should be the game. Look at Kyle out there giving him a big hug. Kyle knows what Pedro Estacio just accomplished. Kyle did it yesterday, and Pete might have one-upped him, his 4th complete game of the year.
You look at the starters in the last 2 games, with Kyle going 7 innings yesterday and only giving up 2 runs. Estacio 9 tonight. That's 16 innings and only 4 runs out of your supposed top 2 starters. Good job, Kyle. Great job, Estacio.